Good morning. Today is Saturday, October 11th, 2025. My name is Terry Morgan. We are here to talk about martial arts philosophy, practice, and all of the things that are related to our study and practice in traditional martial arts. In my case, it's traditional Chinese martial arts. Many of the topics that I'm talking about in this class are relevant to any system. And some of them are relevant to all sorts of other things. Today's class is relevant to all kinds of things. I'm going to continue what I've been doing all week. I've been talking about clearly distinguishing. What do we have on this side? We have the Italian noodles. Over here, we've got the nice plate of Chinese noodles. And I added a very nice bowl of soba noodles from Japan. They're all different. I like all of them. I'm not going to put them all on the same plate. I'm not. That sense of clearly distinguishing. What is it that I have, right? What do I have? And recognizing what is distinct and special about that particular art, that particular plate of noodles. In today's class, I'm going to really beat up on this idea of clearly distinguishing and the idea that what we perceive, I did this last week, I'm doing it again, what we perceive is oftentimes colored and sometimes maybe we mistake one thing for another. I would not probably mistake Chinese noodles for Italian noodles, but there are lots of folks who don't. They just, it's noodles, okay? What kind of noodles is it? It's noodles. Let's have some noodles, right? I, at one time, did not distinguish different kinds of rice. So very many different kinds of rice. Now, it's rice. What is it? It just, I didn't know. Nobody ever showed me. I'd never seen so many kinds of rice in one place before. I was in a shed on the street in a market in Loyang in 1990. And I went into the shed and there were bags sitting all around on the floor and on the shelf. And hey, we're going to buy rice. How much do you want? 1 kilo. Jin, need a half a kilo. Jin, 1 kilo. What kind do you want? There's different kinds. Yeah. I didn't know. That experience, along with many, 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 many others, helped me to understand a number of things. Perspective, being able to distinguish which kind of rice is it? Which kind of noodles is it? What are we talking about over here? That ability to see clearly and to be able to distinguish what you're looking at. What am I seeing here? Is a big part of today's class, and it's what I've been talking about all week, that making sure that what you're seeing is what you've been told it is, right? We have a lot of that now. And distinguishing clearly what it is you're doing in practice. I talked about that extensively. Today I'm going to talk a little bit more about that idea of perspective, and I'm going to change my perspective a little bit as soon as I get there. All right, what you see me wearing today What do you say? This is literal, very literal question. What do you? This is what I'm wearing, right? I have black shirt. I got a t-shirt on here. I got dark pants. They're dark navy actually. Black shoes. Vest. Got pockets. Right? No big deal, right? If you saw me in any airport, in any hotel lobby, you would say, "Oh, she's a traveler," right? Pockets, right? I'd probably have a bag or two with me. Traveler. Okay, even if I don't have a bag, the the vest and the outfit kind of screams traveler. You're going someplace. You're not right. I'm not dressed up to go to a nice restaurant for dinner. Although I could. They would let me in. I would be dressed sufficiently nice that they would let me in. I put some earrings on to look better. Right? Last week, I had on a kind of a sloppy sweatshirt. They wouldn't let me in. Nope. Right? That difference matters. All right? That's perception. I'm still the same person. I just have on different clothes. The perception of who I am. She's kind of scruffy. I don't know what is she street people maybe. Yeah, street people. Okay. No. No. This is a traveler. Okay? Right. Same person. I'm sorry. I'm laughing. It does it does show up that way. All right. One more. The close up on the shirt, right? Says judge. Same thing here on the back. Different perception now, huh? I cannot tell you how many times that I have been somewhere that I was judging because a lot of the events that this particular circuit hosted were at nice hotels. So I'm at the hotel, I get on the elevator, I go downstairs, we're getting ready for competition, and somebody who's not connected to the event gets on the elevator with me. Oh, I forgot I was wearing a shirt. Hi, how you doing? Right? It, it changes a lot of things. It does. And I was standing here just a minute ago with the vest on, and let me fix this. Hang on. All right, I'm going to leave that alone because that's just my streaming connection. I'm going to double check something here. Yes. Okay. Apologies for that. The machine that's got my monitor on it, where I'm monitoring the stream, it just lost its connection. The stream is going out, as far as I know. I'm going to have to check on that in a minute. And I'm going to do that before I go too much further because this is one of the more important things that I really wanted to talk about. So I got to be able to check on that. Hang on. All right. With the idea that this, I may have to edit this out, but with the idea that we have possible possible blip on the stream. I'm going to repeat just a little bit the sense of what I was talking about, and then when the machine gets back up, I'll double check. Um, it was fine a minute, it was fine, and then it wasn't. So I don't know. Anyway, magic, right? And, sometimes that magic is not, the technology magic isn't always what we'd like it to be. All right, I'll put it that way. So, with that in mind, like I said, I'm going to keep going. The sense of how we perceive something, whatever that may be, whether it's part of an experience that we're engaged with, whether it's meeting someone, whether it's something like I'm talking about where I've just changed my clothes. If I have the vest on, I look like an ordinary traveler. I'm not dressed up in any special kind of anything, right? Once I take that vest off and you can see the writing on the shirt, whether you're reading in Chinese or whether you're reading in English, right? It changes the perception of who I am. I'm still the same person. I'm the same person that was here in the sweatshirt last week. I'm still that same individual. But the perception of who I am and the way in which others treat me frequently changes. That difference, and I and I have some other clothes I put on. It may be back. Hang on. Yep. Okay. Fingers crossed. It says I'm live. I'm not getting a picture yet, but that's okay. I'm gonna. Oh yes. All right. Great. I will double check on this and edit it out so that we don't have to do that. I'm gonna repeat just a little bit, so that it's there. Today's class, we're talking about this idea of clearly distinguishing and working with this concept of perception, that your perception of me, I'm going to draw my attention to the attention to me. Your perception of me is different based on the clothes that I'm wearing. So, t-shirt, nice, just black shirt. I put my hand here. Yeah, nothing spectacular about that. Mm-hmm. She's wearing a black shirt, dark pants, and it says judge on the shirt. Stand on the bed, right? Without that context, without that additional bit of information, Now, if you don't read Chinese and you don't read English, it's not going to mean anything. It's just going to look like pretty decoration on my shirt. Right? Perception. The idea that as we look at whatever it is, we bring our experience, our knowledge, our understanding, and we use that to put context around whatever it is we're seeing. In martial arts, I talked about this, I've been talking about this all week, clearly distinguishing what we're doing. This Italian noodles, the Chinese noodles, Japanese noodles, each one is different. I like them all. I would not like them all in the same plate. I wouldn't. I did not so much. That idea that as we are practicing, and I'm going to give some examples of that right now, that we clearly distinguish what it is we should be doing depending on the art that we're working on. In Tai Chi, I use my hand here, we have something called the beautiful lady's wrist. It's here. The angle of my wrist is minimal, so it just kind of floats there, right? There's nothing pronounced about the separation at the end of the bone of my arm and the extension to my hand, right? In Bagua, my hand is here. I've changed the angle. It's not flat no more. It's changed angle to the front. And there's an angle at my wrist. So I drop the wrist just a little bit. So I can use my palm. Right? Xingyi, set the wrist. It's here. That hand position matters. This extends forward. Each one, as we practice, right? So for Tai Chi, let me use, I use a little bit of cloud hands from Wudang style. Okay, so my feet are a little bit wider than shoulder width. My toes are turned out just a little bit. I'm not going to work very low. As my hands circle, notice my wrist. Even as my hand comes down, the wrist is soft, right? There's not that drop and hard distinction. Right? Each time as I circle, right, there's a change, but I'm not doing this, right? Doesn't happen. Bagua. No, 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 it's here, right? So lower hand is at the hip and it's turned slightly towards my body because that's where I'm going, right? To the inside here. So the heel of the hand hooks to the inside. As I turn, right, that hand position, I'll talk about foot position in a minute. That hand position stays. I use it. I'm going to use it to first palm change. Down. Up. Out. That combination, use the palm, palms out. That connection through Bagua is not the same as what we do in Tai Chi or in the Qigong sets that we were working on yesterday. It's not the same. It's very similar. And the dynamic in the movement is almost the same, right? I think yeah, it is. With that combination, this one here, Bagua. Notice the difference in what I just did. Tai Chi, or Tai Chi, Bagua. A little bit of difference, not much. My internal work, what I was intending to do, was a little bit different. The way in which I did the movement was just a little bit different. Not a lot, because it's very, very similar, but just a little bit different. My footwork in and out of the movement is going to be very different. It is. That distinction makes a lot of difference. The third set that I just talked about, Xingyi. I'm here. Santi Bo. Sit the wrist. Sit the wrist. As I pull in, look at the wrist. No. Comes in here. Stays. It matters. And it turns to go out. That method of movement, that method of practice, what am I doing here? This is grab, pull in. Right? Down, out, separate. All three moves all together, all at the same time. It's not something that is immediately apparent. And just like there not being, I didn't know there was different flavors of rice, without an explanation, the intent, down, out, separate. Might not be apparent. I tried to make it as apparent as I could. I'd have to move a lot slower. I'd do it slower. Checking the connection of it. A little bit slower. Small movement. It makes so much difference in the ability to use Xingyi as an application. That's out, right? Down, separate. Sometimes things shouldn't be separated. Let me help you separate your forearm from your elbow. Nope, you didn't want me to do that? Okay. Understanding the possible application. That's not the necessary application for that. It's a possible application. How am I going to apply the force? What am I doing in the movement? How might I use that movement? If I am going to use that movement, how do I do it? What's the application of force? Again, physics and geometry. What is the application of force? If I set my hand here, just above your elbow, and I grab your wrist and I separate both my hands, if I'm reasonably strong, I will break your elbow. If I separate and twist with full force, I will break your elbow. It will hurt. Application. That is part of this sense of clearly distinguishing in all of our practice, in all of the things that I'm teaching. We have this idea of application, of doing something that would be martial, not dance, right? It's not fancy dance, right? We're not going to the ballroom. Martial arts. So what we're doing has some martial application. There's some part of the movement. There's some part of the specific way in which we're moving that includes, includes, I'm not going to say is, I'm saying includes the martial concept. We're fighting. It's a fighting art, right? It's not a wave your hands in the air and it look pretty art. I've done those. It's wave your hands in the air and look pretty. Yeah, I did. But that's not what we're doing here. Distinguishing that, making sure that's clear, is fundamental to whatever your practice is, because that's how you learn what to do, what not. I talked about footwork in the context of this stuff here. All right, in Wudang Tai Chi, we have 四上八掌. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? I'm here. 1, 2, 3. Turn the other way. 4. This movement, right? Turning palm. We worked on that yesterday in Qigong class. Same movement. I get to it a little bit differently. Qigong class, I'm just here. So go to one side, go to the other. Tai Chi, I've got to move a little bit more to get from one side to the other. That similarity extends to Bagua, right? As I close first palm change here, right? Very similar. My weight is a little bit different. I don't go as far forward. My weight in Tai Chi, I'm here, 6'4". In Bagua, I'm back here a little bit, so this is closer to 55, 45. It is. Because in Bagua, after I finish, I'm going to close here. That turn has to be accounted for in my step. The same with the next step in Tai Chi. I have to account for what I'm going to do next. So if I step too wide, if I step too narrow, my stepping method matters. The same idea for Sheng Yi. Stepping method, step, step, close. I'm going to go this way. Right. For Sheng Yi, as I step out, my front foot leads. In Tai Chi, I'm going to transfer my weight and step through. In Bagua, I'm going to transfer my weight and step through. In Xingyi, my front foot leads. Step, step through, close. That stepping method is fundamental for Xingyi. If I take that stepping method from Xingyi and I try and use it in my Tai Chi will look awkward and off balance. If I try to use a nice smooth stepping method in my Xingyi from Tai Chi, it rock and roll, shift back, roll forward, right? My Xingyi will look weak and ill-formed. And neither one of them works all that great with Bagua. I need to be able to stay fully pulled up and keep my hips very open in order for my legs to be able to do what they're doing, right? I'm going to slow that down. This is a Bagua hook step. Shift away to the left, slide right, right? The right leg slides across. If my hips are not open, I can't do that. Slides across, and then turns out. Hook. Right? Tai Chi doesn't do that. Not really. We have a couple of places where we use a sweep. There's a place in Xingyi where there is a hook. Those stepping methods are common. But in normal practice, that's not what we're doing. Tai Chi has this nice even back foot's at 45, the front foot straight, shift back, turn the toes, step through, shift the weight. Right, this is Tai Chi stepping. It should be smooth and even. No matter what style of Tai Chi we're talking about, it should be smooth and even. No matter how fast or slow, it should be smooth and even. This is me as the judge saying it should be smooth and even. If it's not, I'm taking points off. Okay? That idea. Fundamentals should be there. What an individual does with those fundamentals. That's why we see different people in competition. I've got 30 people in the ring. Each one of those people is going to do something just a little bit different. Even if they're all doing exactly the same forms. They won't, but even if they were, right, they're going to do something a little bit different. That is the nature of the art, and that is to be expected. Within that range of individual difference, the nature of the art has to come through. So someone who comes to, and I've seen this actually, so I'm going to use it. Someone who comes to a Tai Chi division. This is Tai Chi. This is Tai Chi. Tai Chi division. And I'll use now what am I going to use? I use white crane spreads its wings. Right? Big open movement. Somebody comes to Tai Chi. I'm in Tai Chi division. Okay? Europe. And they start out and they do some couple of things and this. I'm going to look at that and what? Wait, what was that? Right? White crane spreads its wings, brush knee. They wave the hands and do, no, no. Don't do that. That's not Tai Chi. Even I'm moving faster. I'll check myself here. Even if I'm moving faster in this form in particular, you don't see my hands waving around. It's you see the form. Everything works through the form. That difference, that requirement, is part of what we want to practice in Tai Chi. Okay? Slappy hands, no. Push hands doesn't do this either. No. that's swatting flies, man. We don't do that. No. Push hands. I have your arm. Would you like it back? Here you go. That clarity is what we work toward. That's what we want. The fuzzy logic and trying to figure out what this was and what that was, and I can move fast and I can make this, and no. I can move fast. I can. Part of Tai Chi practice and moving slowly, I talked about this yesterday as well, gives us the ability to move more quickly, because moving slowly allows us to take our time to remove any impediments, to remove any blockages, to ensure that the muscles and tendons and ligaments are all well aligned with the bone, with and working and fully functional, so that as we're moving, everything works together and works in harmony. There's no blockage, your hip's not stuck in something, your knee's not stuck. I do lots of knee exercises because my knees do get stuck. That sense of opening the body, being able to move, and then moving in the way that the form asks us to move. Smooth, continuous movement, prompt, sudden, complete. Tai Chi, smooth, continuous movement. There is a sense of that ability to be prompt and sudden and complete in each move. Each and every move. Xing Yi uses that much more directly than Tai Chi. Tai Chi says, yeah, it's there. We know it's there. And it should be visible that the person knows it's there. We're not trying to do a particular thing in a particular way beyond the movement. Okay? The principles in the movement, I'm talking about that another time, but the principles in the movement need to apply. So the idea behind the movement, what am I doing here? What am I doing? Pull down. Pull down. Sack. Sack. Pull down. There. Sack. There. Side. Twist. Pull down. That distinction, you'd feel it if I did it. If I had my hand on your arm and I did either one of those, you would feel it. Making that clear, making that movement clear, making that application, because those are two applications. Side. There. Those are two fundamental applications. Now, it can use that idea, pull down, in many different ways. It's not just this one. It's this one too, and that one, That's kind of twist to go with, right? That's that idea that we've got this clearly defined and this clearly defined. As we develop the skills, we work through the movements, right? In I think in Xing, I don't have. Hmm. I'm thinking through applications as I'm talking here, and I'm comparing what we have in Xingyi with what we have in Tai Chi and what we have in Bagua. In the lore, Xingyi is the 5 elements: metal, water, wood, fire, earth. Xingyi is also entering, leaving, look left, look right, and center. 5 elements, 5 key positions, right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the center. 5 is always there. The center is always required, right? In Bagua, we have 8 directions that go with the 5 elements that combine together to make up the 13 postures in Tai Chi. So we have these combinations inherent in the art. I'm going to say again, Tai Chi should not look like Xingyi. Tai Chi has centering. Tai Chi has look left, look right, center. Yeah. Those combinations exist in every martial art that I'm familiar with. The direction of movement, forward, right side. Each time I pay attention to my direction, each time I pay attention to where I am in space, I'm paying attention to some collection, collection's not the right word, some geometry, right? I have to. I have to. How can I move? I'm standing still, centered. How can I move? I can move forward, back, left side, right side. Those are my directions. That's it. I can change to an angle. I can go in an angle, this kind of thing. I can do that kind of. But I'm moving forward. I'm moving forward. I'm moving forward. Right. I'm moving to the left. I'm moving to the back. I'm right. Each time I move, my movement follows one of those 5 directions. In Bagua, I'm paying attention to placement at each point on an 8-direction circle. This is the 8 trigrams of Bagua. North, south, east, west, northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest. Each has a particular reference, and as we're practicing on the circle, each has a particular palm change associated with it. That combination gives us an insight into the connection between the direction of movement and our position in space, my position in the circle. Where am I? Turned outside? Am I turned inside? Which way am I going? All of that is fundamental again. We learn it and we use it in Bhagwan, particularly with the direction changes. We can take that understanding of position in space. Where am I in space? Where am I located here? Which direction? Where am I going? And we can apply that to what we're doing in Tai Chi. Which direction am I going? Am I going this way? Am I going that way? Am I going backwards? Am I going forward? Where am I going? That combination of how I move, which direction am I moving, my position in space, where am I on the circle, which way am I facing, inside, outside, inside, right? That combination goes into our Tai Chi forms as we're changing direction, as we're turning through the waist, as we're moving forward and backward, left side, right side. Each time, right? Backward, I moved backward. I did, right? I moved backward. Even though it looks like I'm moving forward, I moved backward. Now I'm ready to go forward. That combination, going back, now I'm going forward, is something that we learn through paying attention to our movements. What am I doing in the movement? As we start paying attention more and more to our position in space, we develop that sense of this is outside, this is inside, which way I'm going to turn to the inside here. I'm going to turn to the outside here. That this is inside, this is outside. That distinction, right, applies to everything. It's not just this one particular move. So as we're developing the skills, what is fundamental for this art? What's my hand position? What should it be? I didn't talk about fist position too much. I did this yesterday. Flat fist, shinny fist. Different. And we use a different kind of force with the hand positions, with the foot positions. The changes in Bhagwan are designed to help build the connection between the upper body and the lower body, to build openness through the hips and to better enable using the hips. You got to go, right? It's not just stand there and use the upper body. And if I stand here, right, I'm stuck here, right? This is separated my arms. This is just here. I'm not going to do anything except use my arms. I got nothing. I don't have that strength to only use my arms to do much of anything. That I can do. All right, that is a combination of step, using my weight, turning my waist, using my hip, and using both shoulders to move that arm into a single position. I decided that's what I was going to do. I could do it. Same on that side. I decided that I was going to step right, uppercut left, pull my right hand in as I step. That's what I decided to do. I did it. Which direction did I go? Well, I picked that one because I wanted you to be able to see what I was doing. Right? I step back and this one's ready to go. And it's going this way. All right? If you notice, that was also shinny stance. if I'm talking, this is something important for applications. If I'm talking about a particular art, this is Xingyi, this is Bagua, this is Tai Chi. This is what I want to see in Xingyi. If I see something that looks more like Tai Chi in Xingyi, made to look like Tai Chi. No, don't do that. That's not Xingyi. That's not Xingyi. That was Xingyi. Paying attention to what we're doing in this art, what we're doing in that art, distinguishing clearly what belongs, understanding what the foundations are, fundamentals for movement. Talked about this right now. This is what I was just talking about. Step forward, step back, look left, gaze right, center. Where am I in space? How do I move through the movement? So I'm not moving at the movement. I'm not moving at the target. I'm moving through the movement. I'm moving through the target. The combinations of development in the physical body. So understanding your muscles, how your body works. Understanding the foundations for the art that you're practicing. So in Bagua, I'm going to use this, I have to give this example here. In Bagua, if my stepping method requires a sliding step, it's here, right? So this foot slides, this foot slides, this foot slides, right? There are other Bagua systems. There are, just like there's other Tai Chi systems, right? In one system that I'm aware of, it's required to bring the foot up. It takes a lot more agility in some sense to be able to do that. There's a question in my mind on the application. I mean, I understand why it would be done because you really got to work your legs to do it. But I'm not sure. So I'm going to leave it with that. The stepping method that we have, slide the foot, is not something that we use in Tai Chi. It's Tai Chi stepping method, right? Shift, go forward, shift back. Even if I'm moving forward with quickly, brush knee. Okay, so brush knee, turn, shift, brush knee, turn, shift, brush knee, right? This Baba. Hang on. Left hand wants to come out and bubble. There we go. I'm moving quickly. That and it is. I'm going to talk about that. That palm, that's Bagua. That palm's Tai Chi. Being able to correct that took me years. I did. It's not obvious unless you're paying attention. It's not visible unless you know. If I didn't stop and call it out, you wouldn't know. You'd have to look real close. All right. That idea, distinguish clearly, being able to see, understanding what it is, having the perspective, having the experience, having the education. I was educated to the idea that all those bags are all full of rice and they're all different kinds of rice. I had to be educated to that. I had to learn that. If I hadn't had that experience, I might not know that to this day. It's true. That gives me a different perspective. Having that knowledge, having that experience, being educated to what belongs with a particular art. What belongs over here? This is Italian noodles. What goes with Italian noodles? Oh, lots of things. All kinds of different kinds of Italian noodles, too. Same with Japanese noodles. Oh, all kinds of different kinds. Chinese noodles, same thing. Oh, so many kinds of Chinese noodles. The distinction isn't that they're all noodles. They are. So, but this is all Tai Chi over here. It's all noodles. It's all Tai Chi. These are all different internal arts. Tai Chi, Xingyi, Bagua. We can think of it each. We can use both metaphors. Okay. I'm not going to mix any of them. I'm not. I want my Tai Chi to look like Tai Chi. I want my Xingyi to look like Xingyi. I want my Bagua to look like Bagua. I don't want them to look like mush. I want them to be clearly distinguished so that each one has its own character, its own flavor, and that character and flavor is from the art that I'm practicing, as well as my interpretation of it. So my interpretation of Yang style Tai Chi should conform to the principles in Yang style Tai Chi. Smooth, round, elegant, full, open, nice shape for each movement. My Yang style Tai Chi should not look like my Wudang style Tai Chi. I still should have nicely formed movements, but they're much more twisted. They're closer held in, right? And the overall shape is different. Yang style Tai Chi, cloud hands. Wudang style Tai Chi, cloud hands. You can see clearly the difference. Again, that should be present. That clarity of movement should always be present in whatever it is you're doing, so that when somebody else looks at it, they can see that, oh, yeah, it's clear. It's not mush. It's not flap the hands. It's clear. It's distinct. And it follows the principles. Wudang Tai Chi has a twist, a spiral. It wants that spiral. It's part of the forms. Yang style Tai Chi doesn't. No. There's much advantage to be gained from Yang style Tai Chi and the way that it should be practiced. There's much advantage to be gained from Wudang style Tai Chi, from Wu style Tai Chi, from Chen style Tai Chi, from all of the other Tai Chi systems that have a core set of foundation principles for how the form should move, and that all of the methods, all of the applications, all of the foundations follow those principles. Same thing for Xingyi, for Bagua, for the Ohabafa, for sword, for Baji, for all sorts of other internal arts that have been developed. Core set of principles, foundation practice. What are we doing here? Not only the dynamics of the movement, what are the applications? Because if we're not paying attention to the idea of applications, if we're not paying attention to the idea of use of force, of being able to do something through the movement, we're dancing. That's different. I hope that this session has been useful. The ability to distinguish clearly, and I'm going to beat up on something else next week. So I'm going to come back to this, but I'll beat up on something else next week. The ability to distinguish clearly has partly our perception. What is this that I'm looking at? Can I see it? Do I know what I'm looking at? Have I ever seen it before? Am I using something that I know to see clearly what it is that I'm looking at now? Am I clouding my perception of what I'm looking at now with something that I don't know? Bins of rice. Is my perception of what I'm seeing being colored by? It says judge on the shirt. How do I distinguish? How do I distinguish? This is what I think. This is the reality. This is, well, I see this person wearing a judge's shirt, but maybe she's borrowed it from somebody. Yeah? If you clearly distinguish, if you can achieve that, you see me wearing the judge's shirt, you know I'm a judge. You'll see it. If you can't, then yeah, maybe she's just wearing a shirt, right? That ability, that skill, is something that can be learned. It's what I'm trying to teach. And it's something that I will return to, like I said, again and again, in how we look at what else is, what do we see? How do we look at what's out there? And how do we look at ourselves to understand it? Maybe I just don't know everything. And there's something I could learn. Being open to that is one of the secrets to being able to see clearly. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate it.